All right, we got the subframe down. We've got the whole bottom of the engine exposed. So next we're just going to take out the two axles. Then we're going to disconnect the forward dry shaft from the front differential. Have to remove the shield by the transmission side there to remove the bolts to remove the dry shaft. I could probably just disconnect the dry shaft right here and let it hang. I'm gonna see if I can do that first, and then take off the differential, then drain the oil, then remove the oil pan. Okay, so the hardest part's been done. Is getting the subframe off, and the hardest part will be getting the subframe on. So let's go ahead and get that done, and we'll go from there. All right, we got the axles out. Both axles out, struts are still in place. I drained the oil from the front differential before I remove the axle, so I don't have any leakage coming here. You're gonna have to replace the seals, all the seals and the O-rings on both sides before you put the axle in. This is an opportunity to replace your axles if they're borderline or bad, because it's pretty far in depth. So anything that you see that you may want to replace, you might want to get that done right now. So next we're going to go ahead and remove the dry shaft from the front differential right there. Alright guys, so I want to show you guys something. So I'm going ahead and loosening the bolt around the differential. I'm loosening the top bolts first. This one here may appear to be blocked by the engine bracket, but it's not. You just got to use an extension or get a little swivel extension and put it on, and it'll take it right out. After that, you only got two more on the bottom and it comes out. Okay. So that's how we got it. We got the front differential out. If you guys are replacing your front differential, this will be the time to put your new front differential on. If you got new axles, put them on. So we're gonna go forward and we're gonna go ahead and remove the oil pan, and we're gonna keep this dry shaft in place, and we're just gonna remove the disconnect. We may remove the power steering pump and hang it off the top. So I may do that because I believe this may block the bolts here. So I'm going to remove the power steering pump and I'm going to hang that off the top. And then I should have a clear access. The pulley here will stay with the oil pan, and then we'll start to, oh here, this bracket here for this transmission cooler line. Right there, we'll remove that and hang that off the top. And then we should have clear access to remove the oil pan. Okay? Okay. Disconnected this bracket there from the oil pan, tie this up on the top there. Also disconnected the power steering pump here and tie this up. So we've got clear access to remove the oil pan now. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get that out. Okay. Hey guys, so we got the oil pan off, and this was what was left of the chain module in the oil pan. All broken to pieces. We got pieces sheared off. This is clean shearing. It's like a lot of damage. And the engine just kept driving, but you hear that knocking sound, and it gave us that fuel pump code because the vacuum pump was now rotating consistently to give a consistent delivery of fuel pressure. But then you hear the slapping of the chain module that's inside there, the adjuster flap that just kept making noise. This was all in the oil pan. So oil that came out of there. This oil is pretty, in my opinion, it's looked pretty dirty. It's only got 2,500 miles on new oil. I'm really reconsidering my interval. I have to think about that a little bit. Okay, let's take a look. See if I can show you guys. Okay, you guys can see. You can see all the way up there where that vacuum pump gear is. Right? The whole chain module on this side is broken apart, and the entire side is broken apart. Nothing is housing that gear around there in back. Usually you've got an opening that you slide the vacuum pump through and you tighten the chain module. All this is pretty damn loose. You can see I'm pretty sure my chain is stretched, but you can see like look how loose. I mean, if I had lost this chain, I would have lost all pressure and I would have damaged the engine. But this thing drove back from Chicago all the way to Wisconsin. Alright, so yeah. Okay, I'm going to take this front dampener off. Then we're going to remove the crank, front vibration cranker adapter that crushes between the chain module. And then we're going to loosen the chain module screws. You got one there, 1, 2, yeah, 1, 2, 3. We're going to remove that. We have to remove the vacuum pump bolt to remove the vacuum pump gear, disengage that, and then pull the chain module out. I'm gonna have to also release my timing chain on the top. Okay, let's get to it. We'll step through it, okay? Alright, so we've pinned the flywheel. We're gonna go ahead and set the timing and lock the timing in. We're gonna remove the 2 Vanos and disconnect the timing chain here so we can get off the chain module. So we're gonna just lock it at the camshaft and remove the Vanos assembly here. Okay. Alright, we've got the timing locked. We got the top of the camshaft locked into timing. You can see this is a good way to check your timing. Once you pin your flywheel and you put your timing jig on, you should line up flush with the cylinder head. This slid right on, so timing was pretty good, not an issue here. So we've locked this now. Next thing that we're going to want to do is to remove these bolts here, but before that I'm gonna have to release the tensioner for the timing chain. That's gonna be a little bit of work. Okay. All right, so we removed the air intake to the turbo, disconnected from the turbo, and then remove the screws that located here to remove that intake, that fresh air intake to the turbo. Okay. Next, we are going to remove the tensioner, hydraulic tensioner adjuster. Now we're going to remove the camshaft Vanos gears. Now these are one-time use bolts, so you got to replace these bolts. These are torque to yield bolts. Okay. Don't worry, you can't mix these up because they're labeled AUS and EIN. AUS is for exhaust, EIN is for intake. Okay. Remove the top timing chain guide. Just a slip of a plastic clip right here. Let's get a screwdriver and expand. This comes right out. Okay. Next thing, we're going to remove this hex cap to remove that bolt right there, or maybe I should be able to get it without removing that. That's a little bit of leverage. Kids, don't try this at home. Okay, we'll just leave this loose here for now. Let's go to the bottom. Before that, you have to remove this vacuum pump gear bolt. Got this special tool here to lock the pump. It's a little tight here because I don't want to remove the Freon, disconnect my EFC compressor. I'm gonna have to rotate that just a little bit. Oh shoot, I can't, I'm locked. Should be able to move that just a little bit. Okay, put that in there. Let's see if we can get this in here now. guys, I'm gonna have to move you here a little bit. All right, took a little finessing, but I got it out. Remove the bolt and remove the gear. Okay. Okay. So, gotta go ahead and take our, this is the hardest part, the main pulley bolt off. Okay, so we got that connected, but we're gonna have to release the flywheel in order to rotate this just a little bit, so we got it to lock up against here. Okay, we're gonna lock it up. Once we rotate, we're gonna lock it up right against the chassis rail right here.